months in the spring and the fall, the weather's a lot more cooperative for the outside ones. Not trying to really have that many ones on the outside in our few winter months, because we don't really do bad winters all that often. But every once in a while it gets a little bit nippy. Of course, they'll do first Friday, which a lot of people do in terms of celebrating the New Year's, and that's a combination of both inside and outside venues. But at least it's not all outside, because once we get around January, February, even here, it gets a little bit on the nippy side. Not as nippy as up there in New Jersey, but it might get a little nippy in January, February, and maybe even a little bit in March and parts of December. But we're not trying to get overly nippy.
Oh, yeah, we get it now. We get it. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I know y'all get it big time. Y'all thoroughly get it. There's no doubt about that. Y'all just be getting it left and right, and folks be saying, I don't know why they're getting it so bad. I'm like, I don't know either. y'all get some of that crazy weather. So how's your football team doing? I know that my Panthers went ahead and they won another game, but they did lose their star tight end. Looks like he might be out for a while, but so Greg Olsen might be out for a while. But they did win their home opener in a nail biter against the Bills, won it 9-3. So it wasn't a whole lot of scoring going on, but they did manage that victory.
Well, yeah, we next up for us is we defeated the Browns 24-10 yesterday. So, we are 2-0 right now. We shut out the Bengals the week before. And on the 24th, we are going to Wembley Stadium in London, England, to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, that's going to be it's set for Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. So, I'll be getting my football in early on Sunday to watch that game.
On Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like
you figure it'll probably be 1 o'clock over there, I guess. So, for them, it'll be our time that we usually watch football. So it'll be 9:30 in the morning. I will be firing up my Netmaster so that I can click on to it and see the Baltimore Ravens go for 3-0.
All right, and like I said, the Panthers are 2-0, so they are 2-0 now, and my Vikings are 1-1, and my fantasy team looks like we're about 1-1 too, because I did win my opening game, and then I just checked earlier today, and it looks like I lost by a point. I don't know that he's got any players playing today, so I might lose by more than a point. But right now, I am down by 1 point, and I don't have anybody else playing, so it looks like I'm just going to have to settle for that 1-1 and bounce back with another win next week. But at least I opened with a win, so hopefully I can build on the momentum, and I didn't get blown out in the second game, and so even if even if I took an L, at least it was a moral victory, we'll call it.
Oh yeah,
got to have those moral victories as well. So definitely got to have
that's
those.
One thing. I forgot to sign up for the fantasy football this year, man. And I was like, all right, well, dang, it's too late now. 2 games behind, so I'm like, all right, well, I'll just watch it this year. Follow it, check it, and see.
You're not going to be joining any of these protests that are going on, and I know that there were even some complaints about some of the folks that have made comments about the protest. Man, I remember last week you said that you were not going to join any of these protest motions.
No, I'm not. And, I just, when you watch it, you got folks on both sides of the fence bashing each other about, you should or no, I'm not. And it's like, honestly, I haven't seen anybody say anything about something of substance. You're boycotting the NFL. What does that have to do with police brutality? I don't see the correlation. Maybe, I don't know. I know one thing, though. Some people can multitask. Some people can stay emotional. For those who stay emotional, do your thing. For those who can multitask, it's business as usual. It's nothing unusual. But I I have to be able to see where you are, where you plan to go, and what you plan to achieve from doing this. And when I look at just simple economics, you're looking at, all right, well, folks are like, well, if you don't watch, it's going to hurt them. If you don't have a Nielsen box in your house, they don't care because they're not registering someone in their private home without a Nielsen box turning on the television. So, you know, like, you don't get counted anyway. But I understand you want to support something. But for those who are supporting, support and keep it quiet. For those who are not supporting, don't support, watch your football, and don't say nothing. Like, we're not all going to always be on the same page. We've never been truly united in my lifetime, you know? So it's not surprising to see people wanting to abandon friendships and all of this other stuff for something that's not going to even matter by December, you know.
And what do you think about people jumping on? What do you think about people jumping on the Sports Center host when she was accusing President Trump on Twitter of being a white supremacist and argued that Trump's rise was the direct result of white supremacy? I'm talking about
Jamel Hill.
Jamel Hill, right? And then, you know, she says that one of her quotes was that Trump is a bigot. Glad you could live with voting for him. I couldn't because I cared about more than just myself. So apparently that got some of the Trump supporters up in arms, and they're now, some of them, I guess, are calling for her to be taken off the air and taken off of the network and things of that nature. So, and that's just one case of folks, I guess, taking their statements and their role in society and carrying it to the general public, whether that's through Twitter or Instagram or however they feel like doing that.
Well, when you're in a high-profile job such as that, you have to be careful of how things are worded. You may strongly feel that way, but if it's not, you know, and he's not sports related, so now you're delving into the political thing, and you can still. I mean, sometimes you got to kind of like, hey, if you really want to blast that thing out, do it on your personal page. But mind you, your boss might be looking and, you know, you still got to do because you're a public figure. So now you have to word some things a little differently. And some people say, well, why do you have to do that? Because if you don't, you'll run into this situation. The people with the dollars control the narrative. So if they say, you know what, we don't want you to say anything disparaging about the President of the United States, and your retort is, well, they did it when Barack Obama was president. They kept calling him Obama, Mr. Obama. They never said president, you know, but then they'll say, okay, well, you either do it and lose your job, or we'll put you on the show that nobody watches, you know. So you got to kind of like, you have to remain neutral in some things. Because, I mean, all of us can be very opinionated, but when you're into, you don't know who your fan base is, who your viewership is, and even if you do know, if you were to get more viewers or more fans, you know what, I don't feel like pissing off nobody because I don't feel like explaining what the hell I said later on. And people will, you know, take that into a totally different area. And by the time you finish, now you're tired. You don't want to deal with anybody. You don't want to say nothing to anybody because what you say will be taken and you know, you'll be taking an oath to it. So we just got to, you know, I mean, was she lying at what she said? I don't think so. I think it was 100% true. But if you say it at work, now your boss has the right to get involved because you're a representative of that show, that brand, and everything else, you know. So, and when you talk about businesses and all of that stuff, they're only really concerned with one thing: money. They've been doing that since slavery, you know. And some people say, well, the slave. No, they didn't just want to whip up on black folk and treat them like, well, they may wanted to treat them like trash, but at the same time, it was about making money. If I can get these women to have more kids, I'll have more slaves that'll push more product that brings me more money. So they're not beating on people anymore, but at the same time, here it is. This is the formula. This is my product. This is my brand. You represent both. So if you take off my viewers that are in the deep woods chewing tobacco and making new hoods, then that's not a good thing. Because I'm going to lose money. And, I'm going to lose money for these dudes that some people may call country bumpkins or hicks or whatever, but they're spending money, And, yeah, black folk are spending money, too. They don't care who spends the money as long as they get more of it. And I think we have to, at some point, realize that certain things can't be said in certain places. You won't let me come into a church and start cursing like a sailor. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take a curse word, and they'll probably be like, sir, you got to go. Because we know you're about to say something real weird that doesn't vibe with what we're doing. And it's the same thing anywhere. I mean, yes, you can be outspoken. Yes, you can speak your mind. But then there are some places where if you're there at that moment, you're going to have to say that for later.
You're absolutely right about that. And, ESPN apparently has been having declining numbers as well because they've had some other things that have gone on recently that have gotten them into trouble, like the time that they pulled their announcer, Robert Lee, because he shared his namesake with the Confederate general, and then they also got, apparently the conservatives rolled their eyes back in 2015 when the ESPYs granted Caitlyn Jenner a Courage Award over a teenage girl who had died of brain cancer. And earlier this year, the ESPNW ran a poem dedicated to Assata Shakur. So, it seems like they're always doing things that are not exactly making them the most popular people in certain parts of America. So they might be paying the price for that in terms of folks walking away from them as well. So that's one of the dangers you have when things of that nature happen.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely true.
Yeah, sometimes folks just get there and they get too carried away and they just can't handle what's going on and things of that nature. So it's going to be really interesting to see how things play out with ESPN and things of that nature, and also whether I do remember that I did hear that I think it might have been one of the games. It might have been the first game of the season or something like that. They did say that some of the numbers were down compared to previous years because of people not watching the game because of these supposed boycotts that are going on in the NFL. Like I said, I'm a fantasy football person. I also do watch football. I haven't watched any games this season, but it's not because of boycotting. It's just because of my schedule's been crazy lately. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be glued to a TV in the near future catching a game or two. And might even try to get down to Charlotte to catch a Panthers game live.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. And it's, when you start looking at stuff, and it's like, yeah, some people will say, well, you're not willing to give up your entertainment. No, because I'm doing other things. But I don't owe it to you to prove to you that I'm doing something else. If I choose not to watch, then that's my thing. A lot of people look at me nuts when I say I still watch Ratchet TV. I never once said anything about, if I'm not talking about you and what you do, just leave me alone. Because I still take care of other things that need to be taken care of, and only the people that it affects need to know.
That's right. You're still involved with various organizations. I believe you're involved with your local NAACP and several other organizations. And I know I'm involved with other organizations as well. So there are other ways that you can make those political and social statements and not necessarily have to participate in that particular activity to make those statements known or even show your support. Like even if you feel that Colin needs to get a job somewhere, which I do think he needs to get a job somewhere, there are other ways that you can let folks know that what your feelings are on that subject.
Say that one more time? Hold on, because it faded out a little bit. Hello?
Yep. You hear me?
Yeah, say that one more time. It faded out just a little bit.
Oh, no problem. I'm saying even if you are a supporter of Colin Kaepernick or some of the other folks that are making actions while they're playing in the NFL, there are other ways that you can show your support. Like I said, if you want to be one of those people that chooses to do the boycott thing, then that is your prerogative. But some of us will find other ways to try to let folks know that we want